What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be taking down the Gifted Warriors mission against the Blue Goku stage here for the VEGETA'S Story Edition Red Zone. So I think we've got a pretty powerful team here. I think this is going to be pretty promising, honestly. I don't think we're going to see too much trouble here. It's nice that we do have actually a few slot 1 units on this team this time around. I know with like the previous missions that we did for this stage, that was one of the biggest stressors, was not having slot 1 units. Because obviously this is a one-phase fight that's just going to get stronger and stronger as the fight goes on. So yeah, very, very nice to have some upfront units to be able to rely on here. We do have a few stackers as well that it would be nice to leave on rotation so they can continue to build up. I guess that being considered, it's probably the best idea for me to leave the rotation how it is. Obviously, Gotenks is going to be really strong up front, but, you know, we do have multiple slot 1 units. I mean, yeah, because Frieza is going to be building up. Frieza doesn't have Big Bad Bosses active, which kind of hurts, but I think we might be able to fix that, actually. We'll see, because I'm pretty sure, let's see, would... no, Frieza's actually the only Big Bad Bosses unit we have on the team. So yeah, we're not going to be able to get Big Bad Bosses up, which I think makes it even more important to let Frieza stack up a little bit. Obviously, the intense damage reduction in his kit is going to make him a pretty suitable slot 1 tank. But yeah, we'll see how this Frieza is handling like slot 1 supers and stuff, because that is something that's gonna definitely be something we have to face off against at some point throughout the fight. This Goku has a very, very small cooldown for his super attacks, and his super attacks are, what's it called? He can do 2 of them per turn. So yeah, it's very likely most turns we're gonna see slot 1 supers happen. Which is why it is very, very important to have those slot 1 tanks and stuff, right? And I'm pretty sure every unit on the team is going to be strong enough to tank normals throughout the fight as well, which is another thing we won't really have to worry about, because obviously with the previous missions of mainly like the GT Heroes mission, that one was pretty scary to deal with. But yeah, we didn't have like many slot 1 units to be able to tank stuff. So that was really, really tricky. And then a lot of the units still, like, post him super attacking, because he gives himself an 80% attack and defense bonus when he supers. And that will proc twice with both super attacks for the turn. Then his normals start hitting very, very hard as well, right? Especially as he gets the passive attack raises that go on throughout every super attack performed and every turn passed. So yeah, we had a lot of units on those teams that really just couldn't even tank the normals. Which I really don't think we're going to be struggling with here. I can't imagine it's going to be too difficult for us to get the W here. Okay, so... I guess... I'm not really sure what the best plan is. Because we have... So we have 4 units that need to stack. That would be nice to keep on rotation. But Frieza is the only one of those units that's a slot 1 unit. And the other 3 are just the 10th anti-Dokkan Fests, who obviously none of them are slot 1 units, unless we tag switch them, which at that point they're only stacking defense, and I want to be prioritizing stacking their attack. That way when they do their transformations, they'll be as strong as possible. So that being considered, we're not going to be able to keep like a 2-in-2 rotation of all of our stackers. We're going to have to prioritize keeping at least 1 non-stacker on rotation. So I think it's probably just going to be this Tech Vegeta. Obviously, the STR Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta would be just as fine tanking in slot 1. Probably even a little bit better at tanking in slot 1. But because he has type disadvantage, he's not going to be doing quite as much damage overall, I think. I mean, he does have a really good chance to crit. So that's another thing that's going to help out, I guess. But yeah, I think it'll be fine to do it this way. And then it'll be nice having him at the tail end, just in case any of those super attacks linger to later in the rotation. Then Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta will be able to tank. Basically, that's kind of the idea here, is that every single one of the units on this team can tank. I can't imagine that we're going to have any real trouble. I don't really see where he has the opportunity to, like, catch us open and actually do damage to us, right? I do happen to know from one of my previous runs when we did the final trump card mission that the 10th anniversary Dokkan Fest, if I don't stack up their defense at all, by the time we get to some of the later turns of the fight, like after turn 5, once his passive attack raises are fully built up, our defense is actually going to be low enough to take damage from his supers, but it won't be enough to one-shot us because we have upwards of 800k HP. So as long as we start the rotation out at full HP, then we're not going to have any issues with that at all, right? Okay, so this is kind of a really wonky turn here, just because we have the 2 Gogetas that can't really link up together. I think I'm going to still prioritize having the same one on rotation, just so we can try and stack his attack as much as possible. Yeah, sure. Because one Gogeta, I guess it makes sense if we keep the one Gogeta and then the Vegito split on opposite rotations. Then that works out, right? Because the other Gogeta that's floating, we can just primarily use him for his active skill effect, which is going to be giving us that extra 58% attack and defense support for the one turn. And we'll do that on the same turn that we transform the Vegito and do all of the counter-attack damage and stuff from the target skill mechanic, right? And then the opposite rotation Gogeta that is separate from the Vegito will be stacked up much higher, so that his active skill turn is actually going to be prioritizing doing a lot more damage and stuff, right? So I think that could be good. I think that will work out pretty solidly for us. And we do have a couple of other active skills we're going to be able to use as well. The Frieza will be able to use an active skill at some point. I can't remember the exact conditions. I believe the enemy has to be below a certain HP threshold, though. So once we get to that point... Oh, man, we're already getting to the point where we're not fully tanking supers. Jeez. And then also the Tech Gotenks is going to have an active skill for us pretty soon here. That will be able to dish out. And then I guess if we're able to get our HP a little bit lower, then we'll be able to use the Giant Transformation for the Grade 8 Vegeta. Though I'm not too worried about doing that until after we are past turn 5, where he is the strongest he's going to be, right? So yeah, for now I'm not too worried about that. Let's see, who's got the most defense for the most amount of healing? It is the Vegeta. Okay, so we'll give all these orbs to him then. And then we can grab the, yeah, this will give us the 18 key with Goku. I think that's probably smarter. Just to make sure we get that extra defensive raise within the turn, right? And then, sure, that'll be fine for Gotenks. I am going to hang on to that active skill for Gotenks for now. Just because, like I said, this guy does max out his attack power at turn 5. So once we're beyond that point, that's when I'm going to want to, you know, to make sure to have all my ducks in a row and do as much damage as possible per turn. But before then, I'm not really too concerned about doing an excessive amount of damage. I think we'll be all right. That being said, so far, the amount of damage we've done has been a little bit lackluster. Typically speaking, by the time you get to turn 5 here, where he's maximally buffed, you want to have him at least like a third of the way damaged, but we're really not doing that much damage. I think it's because our links aren't that crazy on this team. Do we survive this? Yeah, we do. Wow. Okay. He's looking much more defensively viable than the Gogeta at this point, right? Which obviously the extra links we didn't have active definitely hurt on that last turn. Okay, barring a loss here, I'm thinking it might even be a smarter idea for us to keep the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta as one of our slot 1 units rather than the Grade 8 Vegeta. The only thing is, the Grade 8 Vegeta gets the extra 40% damage reduction while he's in slot 1, so he does look the strongest that he possibly can in slot 1. Whereas, if we were to not keep him as a slot 1 unit, and then he gets supered later in the rotation, he might take even more damage. I'm not sure. Maybe the defensive buildup he would get from super attacking would be an even trade-off. It's possible. I really don't know for sure, though. Okay. So yeah, this is the point where I guess we have to ask ourselves if it's smart to do the transformation. Because we could opt to continue building up a little bit more before doing the transformation. But we just have to ask ourselves if we're going to be able to survive the rotation, basically. Is kind of the main worry right now. Well, I mean, we didn't take a KO, so as long as we can get some healing back, I think we could be okay. Maybe? Let's go ahead and risk it. We still have 5 attempts at this for the day, and this is the very last mission that we have, you know, have to complete for this stage. So we do essentially have 6 full attempts at this. Okay, yeah, I guess we'll do this to give him the strongest attack possible. And then we can just grab this for a little bit of healing here. Okay, yeah, hopefully 500k is going to be enough for the turn. I would imagine so. Frieza should be tanking this just fine. So that's good. Hopefully, as long as both the super attacks are launched against Frieza, then we're fine. We're definitely going to survive. Because obviously, post-super will double-digit tank his supers. But yeah, I am a little bit worried about the Gogeta in slot 2 here. That is kind of the scariest part for us, right? But yeah, as long as we survive this turn, I think we're going to be sitting pretty from that point. Because on next turn, we're going to have the ability to do our 2 transformations, right? Okay, come on, super. Super. Oh, okay. We might be in trouble here. If he holds out and doesn't super until the 3rd slot, then we're going to be fine. Because obviously we've got enough damage reduction over there that we're not going to take any damage. But here in the middle slot, I think it's reasonable to assume, if we don't get a good turn of RNG with all the additionals here, that we would probably take some damage. So let's see. Do we survive this if there is a super attack? Okay, well, we got a really lucky turn. That was a lot of additional supers, so now I'm thinking that our defense is at least high enough to not get us KO'd when we get supered right here. Yeah. Okay, moment of truth. Give me that number. Oh, wow. Yeah, it wasn't even close. Okay, so yeah, he really had to avoid the super. I guess the right option there would have either been to float him, since we know that there's a high likelihood that the super attacks are going to be launching in the first couple of slots, or honestly, what we could have done is Scouter Fish that turn. Because we could have just done the Gogeta transformation, giving us the Scouter really quick, and then once having the Scouter up, we would know where exactly to place him, based on where those super attacks were. So yeah, I guess we'll keep that in mind for this run here, that we do have that option, right? Okay. So let's go ahead. I'm going to keep Tech Gotenks as a slot 1 here, just because both of these units are suitable slot 1s, but Gotenks is going to do a lot more damage. So we'll prioritize keeping him on rotation for now. And then I wonder... Well, okay, again, in the very beginning of the fight, this guy is not that strong. So we don't really have to worry about taking damage and stuff. So for now, I'm going to keep Gogeta on rotation. And then maybe we'll switch that up at some point. Maybe once we get, like, later than, like, turn 4, turn 5, where we know that his defensive viability is not going to be enough, we could just start floating him off every turn. Like both of the Gogetas. Maybe that could be the right way to play things. Because obviously that would have been the right strategy for last time. Had we floated him, we still would have been alive. But yeah, we'll see. Obviously, that turn that we had coming up on turn 6, where we were going to get the double Gogeta-Vegito transformation, would have been massive for us. So, and then also, before that super that we took that gave us the KO, we were at 45% HP. So if we took any damage from it at all, but we didn't get KO'd from it, then we would have probably more than likely been below that 40% HP mark, and we did have the Tech Grade 8 Vegeta coming up next turn as well. So that would have been a really solid turn overall, for a lot of reasons, right? We would have gotten the free damage from the Giant Ape transformation from the Vegeta. That also would have wasted the enemy's super attacks for the turn, which would have been huge, because when we do the Vegito transformation that does the target skill and he counterattacks all the normals for the entire turn, we would have gotten 2 extra normal attack counters because they wouldn't have been super attacks, right? Obviously, he'll tank the supers fine. We don't have to worry about taking damage from them, but those are just less counterattacks that he's going to be able to dish out. So that would have been like the golden turn, and obviously we would have had the Gogeta active skill active there too for extra damage for the turn. So yeah, that just would have been an insane damaging turn. So I'm kind of upset that we didn't get that far. Maybe that was a really big blunder by me. We definitely should have just transformed, right? Into Gogeta there. So yeah, we'll keep that in mind. Live and learn. Okay, so I think overall the Frieza was doing a little bit better of a job tanking. up front. So yeah, I think we're going to probably run the rotation like this, and I guess we'll just keep floating the Vegeta for now. And maybe we'll make him a main rotation unit at some point when we start floating the Gogetas off. Because we also do have the Vegito that we want to... He is like the main unit that we need to prioritize, you know, making sure that he builds up. So a bit unfortunate that he's not coming out until turn 3 for the very first set of attacks that he's going to do. But yeah, I think because of that, we're probably just going to keep him slot 2. Keep him on rotation for now. And then call it good like that. And then, yeah, because he is only starting on turn 3, then that means turn 5, if we do the transformation with him, he would have only had 1 turn of build-up before then. So his Vegito transformation and all the counters and stuff are not going to do that much damage. And this guy has a 1.5 billion HP pool. So I would rather, maybe if we can help it, save the transformation and not do it until, you know, a rotation later. But I think anything post turn 5 where we're contemplating, you know, saving active skills, saving transformations and things like that, it's going to be really important for us to know where the super attacks are launched, because a lot of these characters are going to start to fall off and not be strong enough to live at that point. So yeah, that's probably what we'll start out turn 5 doing, is a scouter fish, seeing where the super attacks are at, and then seeing if maybe it's possible to live the turn without having him transformed. So yeah, that'll be name of the game at that point. But obviously, prior to then, we're just going to have to spray and pray, because we don't have any way to know where the super attacks are going to be. But yeah, it is kind of crazy how much he ramps up with those super attacks performed. It's like he's going from double-digit tanking us on turn 2 to just straight up one-shot KOing us on turn 5. Like, it is quite the increase in power. Which I guess plays in a kind of fun way with all of these units that need to stack, because we're both getting stronger, but he's just doing it at a higher rate. Well, I guess if you consider all the active skills and stuff, then maybe it is kind of equivalent, but yeah, it's like a race to the finish of like who can get stronger first. Alright, so yeah, we'll go ahead and keep our rotations like this. Okay. I don't think we need to prioritize too much orb selection for like the Dokkan attack or anything. I'm pretty sure we're gonna... This is such a short fight that we're probably just gonna finish everything off before getting the Dokkan attack to launch even. So yeah, that's probably not too big a deal. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what we would hope for. With those 5 attacks in slot 1, I really hope that Gotenks gets hit with both of them. Wow, looks like he didn't proc his additional defense chance when receiving a super attack. Hopefully he procs it here, we're gonna get KO'd. There we go, that time it procced. That's really annoying, because that's 777% defense, by the way. So if that doesn't proc, then yeah, obviously we're gonna take a lot more damage. So yeah, that was a bit of a big deal, to be honest with you. But what that did provide for us is now we're looking at being in the HP range to tank, or to be able to transform with the Giant Ape Vegeta. So that'll be cool. And he is going to be coming around onto this rotation. We're not going to have, because we weren't using him as a slot 1, we're not going to have that same setup we had last time where we'll be able to, you know, do the Vegito transformation with all the super attacks canceled and stuff. Because we're not going to have Gogeta. That's the problem. Yeah, not having Gogeta at the same time is going to hurt. But I think it's probably still going to be smart for us to use the Giant Ape transformation while we have the opportunity to. That'll buy us a free turn on turn 5 so that we don't have to do the transformation with Vegito there. Yeah, that's probably going to be the best way to run things. We'll see, we'll see. Okay, now just in the interest of not taking more damage, since we know that Frieza is not quite capable of doing the slot 1 tanks at this point, we're going to go ahead and rotate him off. And then we will get damage reduction boy up front. Do we heal with same type orbs? I think the answer is no. Just in case we double-digit tank both super attacks for the turn, and we double-digit tank all of the normals, and all we have to go off of is the double-digit, you know, damage taking us down, I think we still barely have a chance to get to 40%. So, that being considered, we are just going to select type neutral orbs for the whole turn here. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll see if we can get to 40%. I don't know how much lower we would have to be to get to 40%. We'll see here. Because obviously one of the biggest downsides of the new, like, attack bar and stuff where they gave us the percentage in the first place is that they got rid of the fraction. So now you don't even know what your maximum HP number is, which is so dumb. So yeah, even if I wanted to calculate it, I wouldn't be able to. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, I didn't expect that. I guess that makes sense because his defense is really low. So he's got the 80% damage reduction, but he's got type disadvantage and then the low defense, so that definitely hurt him there. Alright, well, now we don't need to do any kind of calculation. We're definitely below the, 40% mark, but that was only one super attack for the turn. So we're probably not going to live here, right? Because the next super attack is just going to KO us. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. Okay, it looks like we're going to have to jump back in. Oh. Wow. Okay, so I guess he's just not quite buffed up enough. Oh, you know what it is? You know what it is? It's because of the entrance animation for Gogeta. He's got the extra defense that falls off of his kit. So before that's fallen off, he has enough defense to tank. That makes sense. That makes sense. So yeah, starting from the next turn will be the point that he doesn't have that anymore. Because I believe he only has it for the first 4 turns that he's on rotation. Let me go ahead and I've been running this entire video based on my actual knowledge of these characters and knowledge of the event, because we're finally playing an event that I've played a few times and using a bunch of characters that I'm pretty used to at this point. So I didn't even bother pulling up the wiki to fact check anything. Okay. So yeah, at this point, like I said, probably gonna be the best idea to transform with the Great Ape Vegeta. I'm just trying to think, because we do want to make sure to get the Vegito and Gogeta turn at some point. That is going to be, like, the smartest way to roll. But yeah, I think doing this transformation first, we can just take this turn by turn and see how things go. So yeah, we'll do this first. And then we can just prioritize getting some free damage in here. Okay. Yeah, that's 6 as well. Nice. Okay, there we go. 3 Ultra Super attacks. Okay, so we want to make sure that all of those super attacks get launched out. That's the main goal here, right? I was actually looking away because I was pulling up some cards on the wiki here. So I didn't actually see if he launched any super attacks yet. But I suppose we still do have the ability to scout or fish to make sure, right? That there are no super attacks left. If we need to. Okay, here's one of them. Yeah, I don't know if the other one already launched. I guess I would assume it would. It would be pretty wild for only one of the super attacks to have launched by that point, right? Let's go off the assumption that they both launched. Okay, so in that case, we can definitely tank normals with everybody here. Well, we have to keep in mind it is still the same turn, and he gets those massive buffs to his stats with the you know, with the bonuses that he gets from the super attack effect. And we already saw that Gotenks was taking like 80k per normal without the extra defense from receiving a super attack. He is also not going to have that extra defense here, which means if we want to survive with Gotenks as our slot 1 here, we're going to have to use the active skill. And, okay, yeah, this actually works out. We'll use the active skill with Gotenks now to make sure that he gets the extra defense for the turn, so he's safe in slot 1. And then we know he's not going to be taking any damage up front. And then everybody else post-super should be perfectly fine to tank normals, at least. And then the thing that works out really great with this is that was the active skill used for him for the extra defense, but the next turn, when we come back around on turn 7, we're going to have access to the Tech Vegito transformation, where we do the target skill, and then Gotenks isn't going to have to worry about taking any damage at all that turn. So yeah, that actually works out really, really well for us. I think we're in a good position at the moment. And then now from this point forward, we have no reason to, you know, to have our HP low at all for anybody's sake. So we can just focus on same type orbs for the rest of the thingy here. And try and heal up. Although we also are going to have the 10th anniversary transformations that are going to be providing some, you know, some healing for us as well. Okay, so it looks like for the AGL Gogeta, when he's in his base form as Vegeta at the start, for 3 turns, he gets 300% defense and guard. That's another point that's helping him a lot, is the guard there. Well, actually, no, because he still does have guaranteed guard as the second or third attacker throughout the fight, so he still has had guard when we've seen him taking a lot of damage from those attacks. So it's really just that 300% defense for the first 3 turns from entry, right? So we'll double check on our 2 Gogetas here and see how they're doing on the next rotation. I imagine we're probably going to have to transform one of them. Do we have both of them on rotation here on the next thingy? We'll see. Yeah, we didn't rotate either of them off. Okay, so that actually means that turn 7 is not... Oh, shoot. We misplayed here with our rotations. We shouldn't have rotated off full power Frieza when we did. We should have rotated off the Gogeta, because now he's not going to be there with Vegito. Okay. Okay. I have an idea then. I think I know what the best strat is going to be at this point. Okay, so first order of business, we need to see... He's had 6 turns in battle. He's had 5 turns in battle. So, yeah, they are both... Their extra defense numbers have rolled off, which means neither of them can tank a super attack, especially with where our HP is at. So we have no choice. We have to transform. We absolutely have to transform into Gogeta this turn. Though, actually, the other option is to not do the Gogeta transformation and instead do the fusion failure and give ourselves the Ghost Usher for the turn. That could be a good idea. If we do the Ghost Usher this turn... Yeah. Okay, so here's what we can do. We can do the Ghost Usher this turn. We'll do the Vegito transformation next turn. We won't use the target skill mechanic because we have 2 units that are going to be good enough to tank normals and stuff. But we can do the Vegito transformation so that we can at least tank the supers and stuff. And then on the next turn after, we're going to have Grade 8 Vegeta. Ooh, man, it's going to be getting pretty scary here. We do have to delay quite a bit though, don't we? Okay, very first thing before I decide anything, let's do the Gogeta transformation just to see where the super attacks are going to be at for the turn. Let's see. Okay, so they're in 2 separate slots. I suppose, just like damage-wise, maybe it makes sense to still run the rotation like this. So, Let's double check his kit really quick. So he has 80% damage reduction still because it's before 10 turns. And that's it, right? And then he just gets the extra defense when attacking. Okay, so he's not being slot 1 supered, which means he'll have that extra defense, so that's good. Okay. I guess let's do that then. We'll grab just the 1 orb for him here. Yeah, let's just go ahead and leave it like this. I guess in that case, we might as well use the active skill to give everyone a little bit more attack power here. Though we could wait to use that on the next turn. Because we will still have Gogeta up next turn as well. Yeah. I think that's probably a good idea. Let's do that. We're going to wait on the active skill. Well, because it's only for 1 turn, right? I do need to double check that. That his active skill effect only activates for 1 turn. Yeah, so he's getting the 54% for 1 turn here. Okay, yeah, we'll wait on that. We're going to do that next turn that he comes back. So we'll do this, and then we're not going to be doing any active skills or anything with him. We'll just grab some normal key spheres, get him rotated around. That way on turn 10, he will be back to, you know, do the target skill with Vegito and do all that massive damage. I don't even know, are we going to make it to turn 10? Probably, right? I mean, it's turn 6 now. He's not even 50%, you know, complete yet. He still has a lot of HP left, so maybe. Okay, let's see how we do tanking this. This is going to be good information for coming up. Yeah, so he can tank it well enough to not get KO'd, but I imagine that the Grade 8 Vegeta is probably going to be equivalent, like around the same level of tankiness when he comes around onto this rotation. So having the extra defense that we'll be able to provide from the active skill for Gogeta on the next turn will be really, really good, because then we'll know all 3 slots worth of characters will have the ability to tank super attacks. So yeah, that is good. And then we also don't know if, like, we're going to be at full HP or anything, because we didn't have access to just transforming from the active skill. We might be at a lower HP number to where having that extra defense is going to be more important on that turn. Because on this turn, obviously, we're going to survive it no matter what. And that was the main reason why I was okay not using the active, because I knew that even if we took damage with the Vegeta, it wasn't going to be enough to be KO'd, right? As long as we can keep our heart beating in this fight, then we're good. Okay, good. Some more attack stacks in there. This is going to be helpful for turn 10. Okay. Oh my goodness. He cannot tank normals at all. Wow. 1%? That's actually insane that we just survived with 1% HP left. What on earth, dude? What in the ever-living... I just can't even... Wow. Okay. So... Name of the game at this point, we are transforming with Vegito. We'll transform with him now. And then... Oh, I kept saying turn 10, but it was actually turn 9 that I was referring to. So yeah, we're going to transform with him now. This is going to give us a full heal, so we don't have to worry about that HP bar, which again, why I wasn't worried about taking any damage last turn, just as long as we didn't get KO'd, which I guess we almost did. That was very, very close. And like 1 less additional super from that Gogeta, and he would have been KO'd for sure. Okay, so there we go. Now we have the full heal, so we don't have to worry about our HP for the turn. Gotenks should be able to do fine against this. I suppose as long... Like, we're not going to get KO'd from it, right? And then, obviously, Vegito is going to be fine, too. So, let's see here. We've got 3... There's 4 attacks to counter in slot 1, but 2 of them are prior to him attacking versus 2 after. Whereas on this slot, he's only going to get 3 counterattacks, but they're all post-super. So, the question is... 2 counterattacks pre-super or 1 counterattack post-super, which one does more damage? And I think because he gets the attack bonus from being hit, the 2 attacks in slot 1 here are going to allow him to make his super attacks hit a little bit harder. I think that ultimately is going to be the key to having him do the most damage for the turn. So I think I like this idea. Let's see. Yeah, this is probably the best way to go. Probably. Okay, yeah. And we're not going to use that target skill mechanic, because remember, that's going to be the heaviest damaging turn that we have in the entire fight, and we want to make sure to wait until we have the Gogeta around to buff him up even more for that turn. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see. With 100% HP, we should be fine. Tank here. Should be good. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're definitely gonna need to be post-super. Wow, actually, are we okay? I don't know if we are. Because I guess without the, oh, maybe this was a huge mistake. Oh no. I guess without the active skill the active skill does give him extra, like, defensive power, right? So maybe without that, he's not going to be able to tank the super here. I guess here's hoping that he just gets a massive turn for super attack damage. Let's see. I'm going to pull his card up on the wiki and double check as we're going here. Okay, nice bit of counterattack damage in there. You love to see it. All right, moment of truth. Do we survive this? Oh gosh. Okay, we survive it. That's all that matters. I'm okay taking a little bit of damage from it. Just surviving it was the most important thing, right? Yeah, during the active skill condition, once we do the Spirit Sword, he gets 300% defense, so that definitely does help him, right? Okay, but I guess the 60% damage reduction and guard that he has here, plus the base 300% stats, that kind of is enough for him, right? And then, oh, Gotenks didn't proc his additional, his high chance for the additional 777 defense. Man, that sucks. Okay, now we're looking pretty, things are looking pretty precarious because we're down to, like, dangerously low levels of HP again. That was definitely not ideal. Oh, man, and Frieza doesn't tank either. Was that a slot 3 problem? Everything is falling apart, guys. We're so close, but so far. I think in order to beat this, I'm going to need to be a little bit more careful with my rotations. Because had we had the like, Vegeta-Gogeta rotation, we would have been able to get him to low enough HP numbers that our other active skills would have procced, and then we would have been fine, right? So that does really, really hurt us there. Okay, before we jump back in, let me double check at Frieza and see. So 20% damage reduction in base. Yeah, the extra 30% as the first attacker in the turn. He really needed that. So he kind of has to stay slot 1, huh? Okay, then I guess... Wow. Yeah, he has no other way to, like... Oh, and he after 6 turns from entry, he loses 150% attack and defense as well. So that had probably fallen off. Oh, man. Wow, that's pretty rough. Okay, well, we're definitely still going to keep him on the team, but we just have to keep those things in mind, right? Maybe we won't be able to no-item this, as sad as that is to say. Okay. So here's the other thing. On the team right now, the only reason why we have to have Gogeta as the leader and not have Vegito as the leader, because having double Vegito would be really, really helpful for us as far as the amount of damage that we can do. The only reason that we have the double Gogeta is because Frieza is on Successors. And everyone else here is on both of their leader skills, being Pure Saiyans and Fused Fighters. So I think what we should try and do here... let's see, do we still have Gifted Warriors up? We do. Let's see if we can find a suitable replacement for Frieza. That way we can use double Vegito. You know who I think might be decent? Oh, actually... He could be. He might be decent. I was also thinking of him, because he has the revive potential. let's go ahead and try him out because he's got the revive. And then if this guy ends up being a complete flop, maybe we can switch to using him instead and go from there. But yeah, I think this might work. There's honestly not a ton of units left that are like very viable for this fight. Okay. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and try it like this, and then this way we can switch this to a Vegito. Yeah, so now with double Vegito, again, we're slacking on the slot 1 units a little bit now, because obviously we got rid of the Frieza in place of a unit that's not a slot 1 unit. But he would be able to be slot 1 for like the first couple of turns at least, I suppose. So that's better than nothing. But yeah, we'll see here, we'll see. So... okay, we got pretty bad rotations with our Vegetos. This is one of those things where I would love to just jump out and jump back in again, but because of the attempt limits per day, we don't have that luxury, so we're just going to have to try our best here. But yeah, unfortunately, one of the Vegetos is going to have to float, and we don't have any slot 1 units on rotation on that next turn, so that I'm hoping we get a rotation like this where there's no actual slot 1 attacks, and that'll be good. Okay, so as we know, for the first couple of turns, we can keep the Gogeta on rotation here. I am going to chance it with Gotenks. I really think he has the potential to be a slot 1 unit here. Through the entirety of the fight, he just has to proc that 50% chance for the extra defense in order for us to be sitting pretty, right? Guess we'll grab these. Kind of want to save the Tech Orbs for next turn. Okay, so yeah, we'll, I guess, maybe we definitely should rotate off one of the Vegetos. So we'll keep the Vegeta on rotation, but I guess he's most likely going to go in slot 1. If there's any slot 1 attacks at all, we got to put him in slot 1, because they'll just get straight up KO'd from, like, a slot 1 super, right? Or at least they would probably take a lot of damage this early in the fight. But if there are no slot 1 attacks, then we'll probably just try and put the Vegeta in whichever slot has the most attacks against it, so that he can start getting all the attacks he needs in order to eventually get his revive available, right? Which I think is 5 attacks. I am actually going to pull up his card on the wiki here and double check that, but I'm pretty sure it's 5 attacks. Let's see. Yep, 5 or more attacks in battle, then he'll have the revive available. Alright, awesome. We're still tanking just fine. Let's see, for his first 3 turns in battle, he's going to have that. So yeah, turn 4 will be the first time that Gogeta does not have the ability to tank super attacks. He won't be back until turn 5, so that'll be good. Okay, yeah, I'm curious to see how he tanks super attacks not in slot 1, because obviously he's losing quite a bit of damage reduction. Okay, it looks like he's fine for now, but obviously that could change at some point. Let's see. I'm not sure exactly how nerfed his kit is if we're not in slot 1. Yeah, so he's losing 40% damage reduction and 60% defense by not being in slot 1. So I think it would be really, really smart to have him as my main slot 1 unit on the other turn. Okay, and then there we go. Now, we're going to get 6 attacks onto Vegeta this turn, so that's perfect. He's going to get plenty enough hits in, so after this turn, for the remainder of the fight, every turn that he's around, we will have the revive available, which is huge for us, right? Oof, the orbs are looking really bad. I guess I'm going to do this for the best chance at orb selection next turn. Sure. Okay, I am just a little bit nervous about how Vegeta's going to tank attacks prior to being built up. Okay, that's very good, that he was able to get the 3 stacks of damage reduction. So now he's got 30% damage reduction, and he'll have all the defense from doing his super attack effects. So yeah, that's going to help him quite a bit. Oh, and I guess he is also guarding for the very first turn from entry, so that's helpful too. While he's still building up his attack and defensive stacks with every attack performed, right? Okay, well, that is solid. So there we go. We've got the revive up now. I was kind of hoping that wouldn't be too difficult, you know, because sometimes when I take him into fights, especially if he ends up being like a slot 3 floater and stuff, he'll only be taking like, you know, he'll take like 2 attacks on the first turn that he's out, which is like turn 2 anyway. And then he doesn't come back until turn 5. And then on turn 5, we happen to finish a phase and move on to the next fight. So then he didn't tank any attacks for that turn. And then he's not back until turn like 8. And then on turn 8, he takes the other 3 attacks he needs, but then the fight's over before he ever comes back to have the revive available, right? Like those kind of things do happen often with the blue Vegeta. That's why I was a little bit questioning. But I guess it makes sense because early on we can kind of tank against this guy. So just getting those hits in very early is going to be nice. And then from this point forward, we probably won't have him as a slot 1 unit. But yeah, we don't really need to prioritize him taking those attacks anymore. So that kind of works out well. Okay, so because we've seen Vegeta at max power and he's still not capable of tanking, I think we are just going to keep Gotenks here. The one thing, like... the one thing that really does suck is that, like, okay, if Gotenks procs the extra defense, he's gonna be better than the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, because he'll take no damage from the super attacks, and then he'll also take no damage from the normals. If he doesn't proc that extra defense, he's gonna take equivalent damage to Vegeta, maybe even a little bit more damage than Vegeta, but the biggest thing is that then he's gonna take a lot of damage from the normals as well. So that is what I'm a little bit worried about here. Because obviously with Vegeta, we know for sure there's no chance of him double-digit tanking any of the supers, but then at least we know he's going to double-digit tank all of the normals. And he won't get, like, KO'd from the supers or anything. So, something to consider. Maybe at a little bit of a later point in the fight, we could end up switching them around again. But for now, I think we'll be fine having Gotenks where he's at. Especially because we're not past turn 5 yet, right? So he's not fully built up. Gotenks can still handle it for the moment, and we also still have the active skill available for Gotenks. For any turn where we're really scared about his defensive capabilities, we can proc that active skill to give him some extra defense, right? I am going to go ahead and pull up Gotenks on the wiki as well, and double check his active skill conditions and effect. Okay, so after he receives an attack 3 or more times in battle, so easy peasy. We've already got that up, and then it just obviously does a lot of damage, and it's 77% defense for 1 turn. Yeah. So that is definitely worthwhile. Okay, he's also got the extra damage reduction for the first 5 turns from entry. So he's going to be at 33% always, because we have a final trump card ally on the team, and then he has the extra 22% for the first 5 turns from entry. So his first 5 turns. Okay, perfect, perfect. Man, it's kind of unfortunate that this isn't a Ki Blast super attack. Otherwise, Gotenks would be like the best tank on this team, because he has the 44% damage reduction and counters with ferocious power against Ki Blast supers. So that would be a huge bonus for us, right? We would definitely want him in slot 1 on every rotation. Alright, so check that out. Now we've got the revive available. This is another big piece that might end up helping us out a little bit down the road here. I am going to float him, as crazy as that sounds. I think I still want to prioritize stacking the Vegetos. I want to try and stack both Vegetos, that way where we get to a point where we feel comfortable or where it's necessary to use the Vegeto transformation, we'll have a Gogeta alongside one of them, and then we'll be chilling from that point. Yeah. Oh, actually... no, I was thinking of putting both, like, all 3, like, both Vegetos and the Gogeta on the same rotation, but that wouldn't make any sense, because the target skill mechanic is going to make it so only one of them can do the counters for the turn, so that's probably not a good idea anyway. Yeah, we'll leave the rotation how it is. Okay, so we know we want Grade 8 Vegeta slot 1 because of that extra damage reduction he's getting and such. Definitely going to be a good idea there. Awesome, going to get lots of good build up here with the friend Vegeto, and then I guess we'll just grab this same type orb for the potential to get toward that Dokkan gauge filling up. We are moving quite slow early on in this team build, so maybe it's possible we'll see the Dokkan attack launch. Okay, so already we are not tanking with Vegeta. Now, it does hurt him that he didn't tank a normal first, because after he activates guard, he gets 60% damage reduction. Or not damage reduction, sorry, 60% defense, which would have helped him tank any subsequent supers coming up after that. So yeah, basically, the most ideal situation is to let him super attack first, so that he can get the defensive buildup from his super attack effects. And then the second most important piece is for him to get hit with at least one normal first. That way he can get the extra defense stacked on prior to receiving a super attack, and then that's where he's going to look the best when tanking. But also we have to keep in mind it's only turn 4, so the enemy is going to look even a little bit stronger than what we just saw him do against him. So yeah, we're definitely not going to be taking no damage here, right? But hopefully we'll be able to tank well enough to keep the HP high enough that we're not getting like KO'd or anything like that. Okay, not even above the damage threshold here with Vegeta. That is embarrassing. I think the damage... I don't know exactly what the damage threshold is. I want to say it's like 6 million. Yeah, I haven't seen any attack stats launch or like damage stats that are below 6 million. So I'm pretty sure 6 million is the actual damage cap for this. Maybe it's 5 million. I'm not sure. Okay. So it's turn 5. We have the potential to do a lot here. Every unit has the active skill availability. Again, same thing as last run. I kind of want to try to save these for another little bit, if possible. And I would like... No, honestly, I don't want to use the like Gogeta transformation here with the Vegito, the whole double active skill turn and stuff with the target skill. I think that's going to be the wrong idea. Just because I want the friend Vegito to be the one to do that with Gogeta alongside him. So we're going to wait until turn... What will it be? 8? Yeah, turn 8 is when we're going to do that, when the AGL Gogeta comes back around onto the other rotation. So that being considered, the only option we have here is to transform. So first we're going to transform into Vegito to see where the super attacks are at. Okay, they're both slot 1. So what we can do here, is we can reset the app, not transform with Vegito. We can use Gotank's active skill and then depend on him in slot 1. Because both super attacks are there. So as long as he procs that high chance for the additional defense, we know we're going to be fine there. So it is a bit of a gamble, but I think we can live this. So let's go ahead and reset the app, not waste our transformation, and do that. Okay, yeah, so I actually just thought about one small detail that is going to be like a huge thing moving forward. That's probably going to be quite good for us. So, alright, so yeah, let's go ahead and use the Gotank's active skill here. But yeah, that little thing is the revive. The revive with the int Vegeta is going to be probably pertinent for surviving through one of these turns upcoming while we wait to get to that major turn that we're looking for, right? Let's see. Okay, there we go. This will give him the 24 key. So he will be maxed out on power for the turn. And then let's try and focus on same type orbs so we can get as much healing in here as possible. Okay, so there we go. 640k. Let's hope that we proc that extra defense. Come on, Gotanks. Proc it right away. That way we know we're safe for it for both attacks. Okay, he didn't. He didn't actually proc it. But we still took double digits because of the active skill, so that's good. So I guess he doesn't really need to proc it then? Interesting. Okay, I will take it. Definitely not complaining about that. Wow. Very, very interesting. Yeah, so we only got the 77% when receiving it. Oh, well, maybe it did proc, because we got the attack and defense symbols. But obviously we get 77% when receiving an attack. So I guess because that super attack was the first attack we received, then maybe the high chance for the 777 procced alongside that. I'm pretty sure that's why we would have double-digit tanked both of those past turn 5, because he was not tanking that well last time, right? So yeah, I think it did proc, actually. Okay, well then all is going according to plan so far. Except for that... Oh man, they really can't tank? They really, really... Okay, let me get through this daily login. We'll jump back in for another attempt here. Okay, so we've got 3 tries left at this. Let's go ahead and go back in with this same team. We're going to go for the Vegito friend here. Okay, so... yeah, the tag switch characters really cannot survive once their entrance animations wear off. They just cannot survive, like, at all, even against normal attacks or anything. So we have a couple of options here. We could just go for the Vegito Gogeta transformations right away. I think that's probably what we're going to try this time. Instead of, like, holding out too long to use them, we're just going to use them once immediately necessary, I guess. Yeah. We'll do that this time, and then if we end up failing with that, because, like, the thing that I'm worried about is if we don't do enough damage with them early on, then we're going to struggle. If we don't do enough attacks with them before we do the transformations, we're going to struggle to do any damage during the transformations, right? And obviously, once the transformations are finished, then, like, we have no gas left in the tank. And if he still has HP at that point, we're just going to be getting destroyed by this guy, right? So that is not the most ideal situation. But yeah, I guess we're going to have to risk it and see if we're capable. But, like, 1.5 billion HP is just a lot to get through, right? All right, that is the one mistake that I've made multiple times now that I need to just remember not to make again, is once the entrance animations have worn off for both of the 10th anniversary fusions, or not even the fusions, but their base forms, then we just need to make sure to not have them take normals or anything. We just need to remind ourselves that they are absolute fish at that point, right? Yeah, because what Tech Vegito is getting is that 50% damage reduction rolls off after 3 turns from entry, so that hurts him quite a bit. Man, oh man. Okay. Yeah, we'll just keep that in mind moving forward. No problem. Okay, so we were taking damage very early there from the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. But obviously he is not... I mean, our rotations, again, were really bad. The ideal rotations to start out with would be to have the Grade 8 Vegeta with one of the Tech Vegetos, and then the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks with one of the other Tech Vegetos. That's what we want to see happen. So for here, this is how we're going to run it. We'll go Tech Gotenks in the first slot. The Gogeta here is going to be fine in the second slot, since he still has his entrance animation available, and then we can do the Grade 8 Vegeta in the final slot here. Which, the Grade 8 Vegeta is susceptible to taking damage there, but again, it's very unlikely that the super attacks are going to be in slot 3, so I think we'll be okay here. Let's see. So here's the other thing, right? We do also have the opportunity... So, okay, the only reason we've been saving the transformations is to give ourselves more turns to raise attack with these guys. So for those of you that are screaming at the screen telling me I should have done the tag switches and that would have saved me, I'm not doing the tag switches on purpose, because the tag switches are only going to raise defense. They're not going to raise attack at all. So... essentially, if we're going to resort to using the tag switches to survive, then we might as well just use the active skills and do the transformations from that point, right? Because if we're only going to be raising defense from that point, then there's no sense in waiting on the active skills to do additional damage. So I guess this time around we'll just have to do that, where we'll use the transformations first, but then post-transformation, we do have access to the tag switches. With the Vegetos, that's going to be nice, because with the tag switch, he'll have 70% damage reduction, so maybe, even with that decently low defense amount, he'll still be able to tank. And then, obviously, from every subsequent turn forward, he'll be getting more and more defense, being in the tag switch form. But the one that I'm really worried about is the AGL Gogeta. Because he, in that tag switch form, is depending on dodge. And this phase cancels dodge. I don't think that we're going to be able to use him in the tag switch form, like, at all. Yeah, like, he just has... I mean, he has guard as the first attacker in turn, which is nice. And he gets some extra defense when receiving an attack. But overall, his stats aren't looking that insane to where, like, he's going to be able to tank. A lot of it is dependent on his dodge ability, right? He's got, like, the 80% dodge in slot 1, but that is not the case. Yeah. Like, that's not going to be a viable strat for this fight. So, okay. What are we doing here? We got really lucky last time that we didn't take any super attacks. This is his first turn from entry, so he's got guard. Hopefully we can take a couple of normals first. That would be the best case scenario. If we tank a couple of normals first, he'll get that extra damage reduction. Because he's already got, I think, what, 50% damage reduction for the first turn? Or yeah, no, he just has 50% damage reduction straight up. So if we're able to get a bit more damage reduction built on, then hopefully he'll be able to tank in slot 1 there. It is also only turn 3. So that's another, like, helpful little note. I'm going to grab these. I could get a better super attack for him, but I think I want to prioritize grabbing all these STR orbs for a little more healing. Just in case. I'm not super confident about our chances this turn, to be honest. Okay, yeah, and it's a super right away. Now I'm really not confident. Let's see. Yeah, that's not it. And then, obviously, he takes more damage, because after. Okay, yeah, we just needed there to be more build-up there. Ah, dude, this is so rough. Okay, from this point forward, because I just want to get the clear, I'm going to add a Whis. I am going to add a Whis. And we'll go in like this. Yeah. Man, dude, why is this so difficult? I was assuming that Gifted Warriors was going to be the easiest of the 3 missions between the GT Heroes, the, you know, Final Trump card, and then this. And this is actually proving to be the most difficult. Though I did use items on both of the other phases. So that is one thing to note about those missions, right? Okay, so I guess this will be what we do. Yeah. Probably the best way to run it here. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to start moving much quicker, if possible. Grab these. Okay. Okay, so decent rotations this time. We did get our slot 1 unit split up properly, so that's at least helpful. Oh no, I have a Gogeta friend. Oh, I flubbed. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to have a Vegito friend. Okay, well, another attempt. I wouldn't say down the drain, but we definitely have a lesser chance of winning now, right? That we don't have the double Vegitos. Whoops, I guess I just got a little overzealous and jumped in there too quickly. I was thinking too hard about the item we were adding. Well, that's alright. It's still gonna do something for us, but... Okay, sweet. The high chance for the bonus defense procced there, so we're fine. Okay, so one downside of this rotation is that floating off the int Vegeta hurts a little bit as far as that revive. We're now on track for that, you know, the way that I was explaining it before, where you really don't get that revive available. And where we're going to want it is, like, turn 5, 6 kind of area before doing those transformations to help us to survive to that point. And he's not going to have that now. So... yeah, I guess he's only going to be at 2 attacks received here, and then we'll see what he can get on the next rotation. But then, even then, it's still going to take until the rotation after that for him to be able to have the revive available. So it's probably not going to be until, like, turn 7 or 8 would be the least amount of time. And then even later if he doesn't tank at least 3 attacks on the next turn. Okay, I do not want to rotate Vegito, so we're just going to have to deal with double Gogetas. Unless we rotate off the other Gogeta here and keep Gotenks and then the Super Saiyan 3 on rotation together, right? We'll see what we decide to do with that. I think I would rather prioritize all these tech orbs for Vegito. Yeah, there we go. Solid turns. We're getting the 24 keys off quite often, which is nice. Okay, there we go. So at least he was able to tank a normal first and get the extra defense activated before tanking a super. So there we go. Now it doesn't do quite as much damage to him. That's good, that's good. Alright, and then let's just pray for all of the 70% chances for additional supers to proc properly on these next attacks here. I want to get these guys built up as quickly as possible, since the idea is to use their transformations immediately, right? Well, actually, it's not going to be... Well, yeah, it will be immediately, because Vegeto's going to be on turn 6. Because he'll come back turn 4, we'll have one more rotation, and then turn 6 will be a winner. He's able to use that transformation. And at that point, we will have one of the other Gogeta that we're going to float this turn will be available to us on that turn. Or not this turn, but the one that we're going to float on this upcoming turn will be available to us there. So yeah, that shouldn't be too bad. But again, I am just worried about the amount of HP that the enemy has. I don't know if it's going to be enough, especially with only one Vegeto here. But I suppose we do still have 4 turns of his Vegeto transformation. It's just tough because we saw the one time that we transformed with him already. He is capable of taking damage without that active skill, right? So he's only going to be invincible for the 1 turn. Okay. So again, we want Go Tank slot 1. We're going to hold that active skill for a little bit longer here. Since he's still building up, we're probably going to be fine. I don't really want him to eat all of those rainbow orbs. I feel like those are going to be necessary for next turn. Well, no, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. Because we do have an int unit coming up next that might want those int orbs. Yeah, this will be fine. Okay. Perfect. And back to 100% HP as well, which is nice. Okay, do we proc the extra defense again? That's like name of the game every turn. There we go. We did proc it. Which now, it's nice that we procced it on the first super attack, because he just gets that damage, or he gets that extra defense for the turn, right? Or no, I guess it's just for the moment he receives that super. I'm not sure, based on the way it's worded in his passive. It just says, when receiving a super attack, high chance of defense 777. So I would assume that that does proc for the turn. But I guess it doesn't say after receiving a super or something. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But I would assume that what it means is if you proc it on the first super, if you were to get supered again, then it would still be active for that second super. I think that's the way it would work. Kind of the same way of if you activate a stun, like if you have a chance, if your unit has a chance to stun in their super attack effect, and then one of their super attacks stuns the unit, every subsequent additional super that they do guaranteed procs that stun again. Because once it's already been procced, it just like fully like the stun chance already went off, so it has it, right? So I think it's the same deal. If that high chance procs on the first super attack, then it's also guaranteed to proc on every additional super attack that you get hit with. I'm pretty sure that that's how that works. Okay. Alright, so yeah, there's lots of super attacks, or... Goodness gracious, I hope I didn't just jinx myself. There are lots of attacks in that final slot there for Vegeta to be able to tank. Now, how many turns has he been in battle? 3. So he still has his entrance animation up. We're still going to be fine for this turn to tank attacks. So we'll be good. We're going to keep Vegeta in slot 1, as we should. Cool. We'll get some nice healing in there. And then, yeah, we're going to get... let's see... Who do we got next turn? I guess this would be a fine orb selection. Yeah, this will work out, because we got a lot on the left side we can work with. That way you can get the 18 key super, just in case on the off chance that there is, you know, that there's some shenanigans in the last slot there. Though, I think if there was, we probably wouldn't survive it anyway. Again, it's going to depend on the normals he gets hit with first. But I'm just glad that there's enough attacks there that we're going to get the revive up. So the next time he comes back, starting on turn 7, we will have the revive available. Okay, cool. 1 super attack coming in. Would love to see a second one. I guess the second one is probably just going to have to be against Vegito here, right? But with his entrance animation up, that extra 50% defense, he's still going to be able to tank it. So we should be fine for sure. But we really, really need that to happen here so that it's only normal attacks in that final slot. Otherwise, I do fear the amount of damage we could take. Could be quite insane. Let's see. And super? Yes, there we go. There we go. Okay, now we're sitting pretty for the next... for the remainder of the turn, at least. And then we'll see what's going on next turn. It is going to be turn 5. So we do have the ability to proc the Vegito transformation. We're going to need to double check if it's past his 3rd turn in battle. I think it is. Yeah, because I think that was the one that we had on rotation since the very beginning. If I remember correctly. Okay. We're doing decent here. We're doing decent. Okay, yes. It is his 4th turn in battle, which means we have no choice. We have to transform him. We know that for a fact now, right? Because his tag switch is not strong enough without having the ability to dodge. We definitely need to have him transformed. Okay. Now, do we want to use the active skill here? I think the answer to that is going to be no. Maybe we should. Let's go all out. Let's make this the run where we decide to go all out and use everything as we can, and then see how that works for us. Because we're going to be using his active skill, so we'll get some extra damage in here, which is nice. But yeah, the usage of this active skill means that we don't need to use the Gotank's active skill. That would be a bit redundant. Well, I mean, it's obviously not redundant. We would just be getting even more defense boost for him. But because he's already got the 54% defense boost, and then the potential for the extra 777, I think he'll at least be fine tanking these attacks in slot 1. Even if he doesn't proc the 777, and he gets hit with a little bit of damage there, he should be fine to tank it, right? Like, tank it well enough for us to not get KO'd anyway. So we'll grab all of these orbs here. That way, with Gogeta, we can get as many rainbow orbs as possible. Let's see. We can get 4 rainbow orbs this way as well. I think I like the idea of this, because it's going to open up all those green orbs for the next turn. Yeah, perfect. So he's going to have a very heavy damaging attack. And then with the extra defense on the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, and also being post-super, we know he'll be fine to at least survive the super attack there. And then again, I'm not too worried about if we do take some damage. Because one, if we take a lot of damage and we're below 40% HP, like to dangerous numbers, then we're going to have the Giant Ape Vegeta on the next turn, who's going to be able to transform for us. Okay, we did proc the additional defense there. But yeah, so we would be able to do the giant form transformation on the next turn. And then the other thing is, we have the double active skill coming in on the next turn. So we're going to heal back to 100% HP regardless, right? On top of then taking no additional damage, because we're going to have the target skill mechanic up with that really, really strong active from Vegito, right? Okay, there we go. So we're at a 33 million attack stat. We did get a lot of rainbow orbs, which helps boost his attack by quite a bit. So that's certainly going to be helpful. But yeah, even that, look at how measly the damage is overall. Oh, dude, I'm just so worried about running out of gas with this team. Once the active skills are gone, like, we don't have much to work with from that point forward, right? But yeah, hopefully getting like a solid 4 super attacks here will be helpful for sure. Let's see here. I don't even know how many he can actually do. Yeah, he launches 2 additional super attacks just guaranteed, and then he's got the extra one from the hidden potential, which unfortunately did not proc this time. Oh, I thought that was going to be an additional super. Well, I suppose that wouldn't really matter because his super attack effect doesn't raise defense or anything. Okay, I anticipate taking a little damage here. Yeah, but just a little bit. Just a little bit. Not bad. Not bad. Okay, so turn 6. Here we go. It's the big turn. So we have these supers up front. Okay. How do we do this? How do we do this? Okay, so the very first, we gotta do the Gogeta transformation first. And then how many link skills do we have active? We're missing a couple. So we'll do the Vegito transformation second to get more links active. There we go. Now we have 6 out of 7. So his active skill damage is going to do a little bit more here. And then also doing his active skill first gives the Vegito a 54% attack buff so that he's going to be able to do a little bit more damage on his super attack effect, or on his active skill effect here, which is going to simultaneously activate the target skill mechanic. And then now all the attacks are going to be going on to him for the turn. That is perfect. So I think in the interest of providing the most possible damage for ourselves for the remainder of the fight, especially because we do have these transformations out for the next couple of turns, we are going to prioritize keeping them on rotation and not have the Vegeta stay on rotation here. So yeah, we'll do this. And then, unfortunately, there are two super attacks, but again, that's guaranteed to happen every turn, so we knew that was going to be the case already. But the reason why that sucks is because we're not going to get counters from those. So it would have been nice to be low on HP and have the Vegeta, you know, be able to do his Giant Ape transformation to delete those. So that's just 2 less attacks worth of counters we're going to get. We're able to get 2 Rainbow Orbs with the Gogeta, though, so that's going to help his damage out a little bit. And then, just to make sure that we have enough orbs for next rotation, I think we'll just grab these here. Yeah, then we'll have a lot on those purples and stuff. Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, so the super attack starting out. Again, on this active skill turn, we are completely safe, especially with the double active skill and the extra defense. There's no way we would be taking any damage there. It also kind of sucks how many of the counterattacks are before we attack. There's so many that are just very, very prime slot 1, and obviously these counters are going to do a lot more after we super attack him and raise our stats on super attack effect. So yeah, that does hurt a little bit. That is kind of the bummy part about just having to blow this Vegito transformation early. Dude, he's not even below 50% HP yet. I really don't know what we're going to do for the remainder of the fight here. We still have so much HP to take down. Like, what the heck? Okay, there we go. Yeah, see, those counters are doing a lot more, but we just don't have enough of those because there's another super attack right here that we're not going to get to counter, and there's only, like, what, 3 more attacks for the entire turn? Obviously, this is going to be nice. The damage coming in from Gogeta here. I believe this is the friend Gogeta, too, so he's hitting quite a bit harder than mine. Yeah, this is definitely nice. Would have been even better had we gotten more Rainbow Orbs with him, but 2, I guess, is better than nothing. Okay, so now he is finally below the 50% HP mark. So yeah, I guess we'll see if we can maybe get, like, 1 more bar of health deleted by the end of this turn. That would be nice. Oh, I guess we still have 4 counterattacks, so that's better than nothing. That's better than nothing. And each of them are getting a little bit stronger than the last, right? Every time we get hit, receiving that 10% attack bonus. Okay, yeah, so it looks like even more than 1 bar of HP depleted from that. So that's good, that's good. Okay, yeah, that could have been a slightly heavier damaging turn. Again, like, I was hoping for, if, you know, what we had been trying for all of the attempts previous to this, where we kind of delay transforming him, that probably would have helped out during the transformation period, because he, you know, would have had a higher attack stat to begin with. And then another thing that could have been nice is if all those attacks were later in the turn, so that the counters would do more. That would be nice as well. But yeah, unfortunately, we're not seeing any of those strokes of luck this time around. Nor, like, the Giant Ape Vegeta transformation thing that I was talking about. Okay, so now we don't have the extra defense from the Gogeta active skill. The super attacks are in decent slots where we can tank them. We know that the blue Vegeta's not going to have to worry about anything. So at this point, for the extra damage dealt and the extra defense, we'll go ahead and launch the Gotank's active skill. There we go, down to 3 bars of health left. Very exciting stuff. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and put him back in slot 1 and run the exact same strategy as before. Yeah, that'll get him to 24 ki, so that's fine. And then we can prioritize getting as many rainbow orbs as we can with Gogeta. So, like, that would be 3. That's probably it, yeah. Okay, so we'll do that. And then, we'll just grab these. Oh, wait, should we maybe use his active skill as well? I guess we might as well at this point, right? Just for some additional damage. It might even do, like, yeah, I was gonna say, it's gonna do, like, barely anything, but that's also gonna give him guaranteed crits for the turn, so he might be able to help us out with a little bit more damage here. But I would assume we're probably not gonna see the Vegeta again for the remainder of the fight. Probably not, probably not. Oh, no, the additional damage didn't proc. Oh, no, that's so bad. Wow. Or the additional defense, I mean. Okay, well, that definitely hurts him a little bit there. That's obviously the risk we run, right? But it's nice that he at least didn't get KO'd by it. Though we do have the revive available, so this would have been the turn for that to happen, if any. And then I guess same thing. Like, this Gogeta is probably going to tank just fine. He has 60% damage reduction plus an additional 15% from all of the rainbow orbs obtained, and then he's also getting massive attack and defense raises with every single one of these super attacks that he does, which he's guaranteed 3 of, on top of just very, very high defensive stats, including a multiplicative 100% defense when he receives a super. So all of that together, I feel like there's no way that we take a KO from this super attack here that's coming in, but if we do, we're going to be fine, because we will revive. So let's see. Yeah, that's about what I expected. Okay, and then we're at 46% HP. I guess if on this next turn we take a little bit of damage getting us below 40%, that could be good, because then we would we'd be able to do the Giant Ape Vegeta transformation on the following turn after. Assuming that this next turn isn't just the last turn of the fight. It very well might be. We did take down 1 more bar of HP here. So we've only got 2 left to work with. And we still have both the transformations available here, right? Now, obviously, we don't have the active skills, so they are still going to take some damage. But neither of them are getting supered until after they themselves super attack. So that's the first good thing. We'll go ahead and grab... Oh, man, I'm worried about the rainbow orbs falling out of place with Gogeta. But obviously, we want to put Vegito in slot 1 because there's all of those counterattacks, and he wouldn't be getting any of those in the other slots. Like, the massive amount of damage we're going to be able to do here is going to be so drastically better by putting him in slot 1. So yeah, let's do that. Alright, well, we can still get 2 rainbow orbs, and we get a good amount of healing in here, too. That's helpful. I know I just said the thing about Great Ape Vegeta, but just on the off chance that we do end up taking a lot of damage from, like, one of these super attacks, I would rather have the most amount of HP to work with possible. So, let's see. 500k. Yeah, hopefully that's enough. And again, yeah, same deal as we saw him before, where he was transformed, but not... you know, but not during his active skill. He definitely still is going to take a little bit of damage here. I would anticipate something like 200k from this super attack that comes out, and then we know Gogeta is going to tank it just fine. Okay, so those are the measly counters that are prior to him super attacking, and then post super attack, he is going to get the bigger counters, but unfortunately there's only going to be 1 available for him to get. So yeah, we're going to be depending on a lot of this super attack damage carrying us, because the counters are obviously not going to be the main deal in this fight. I wonder if they, like, set it up this way on purpose, with the double supers, because they know that hurts you as far as the counter goes, and then most turns being front-loaded, to where you don't really get lucky enough to do a lot of the counters after you super attack. Wow, it was pretty right on with my guess, huh? That was exactly 200k. I guess when you've run this event enough, I kind of have a solid gauge of, you know, what things are looking like. Okay, and then we did end up taking enough damage, so as long as we survive to the next turn, then we are going to be able to proc the Giant Ape transformation, which actually is going to be really, really cool, because that means that we've procced every single piece of all kits, except for, I guess the one thing would be the revive from the Blue Vegeta, right? But we were able to get all active skills and transformations for everyone. That's kind of cool. And then, you know, what will be even more clutch is if we're able to KO the enemy during the Giant Ape transformation, like, state. He's got very little HP left, so it's possible. We definitely could do it. We'll see. We'll see. We still do have a couple more attacks coming in here this turn from the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, so... Yeah, and he is certainly no slouch. I mean, obviously, he's, like, one of our weaker attackers on the team, but if he gets crits, I think he can actually do a little bit of damage here. Should be able to get above that damage cap, just to creep down his HP a little bit more. No, no crits? Okay. Well, that's fine. Alright, and here we go. We're below that HP threshold, so we're going to go ahead and proc that Giant Ape transformation. And this is beautiful, because this is going to delete the super attacks for the turn, right? That is the biggest help that we get from it, which means now we can be safe to survive the turn, since we don't have, you know, the Gogeta defused and he's back into his base Vegeta form. So now he's going to be very, very susceptible to taking damage. And then obviously Gotenks is post-active skill and stuff as well, so we don't have that extra bit to rely on with him. And then obviously our HP is very, very low, so even just toiling around with taking a super attack from the Great Ape Vegeta or something like that could be really, really detrimental here. So yeah, now that we know we're not going to have to worry about that, we should be in business. Alright, well, let's see if we do it. Oh, yeah. Yep, it looks like we are just going to finish it off in the Great Ape form. Well, W Vegeta. W Vegeta. We love to see that. Alright, awesome. I don't think that, I mean, there wasn't a slot 1 super on that turn, and if there was, then Gotenks probably would have been able to handle that. So it's likely that we would have been able to still win there without the Gogeta, or without that Vegeta giant form at the end there, just because Gotenks himself would have done enough damage to probably kill the enemy. But awesome, there we go, we were able to no-item it even, so I'm pretty proud of that, patting myself on the back. So there we go, that is the very last mission done for the, Vegeta Edition's Red Zone here, which means we're going to get that final little bit for the Power Beyond Super Saiyan support memory powered up, and now we have a brand new attack and defense permanent 20% in battle for Power Beyond Super Saiyan, which is a pretty decent category to be using that for. So that is pretty exciting. It seems like another usable support memory, and it's orange. That's another thing that's really, really important about that, is that it's orange, because most of the orange support memories are really not that good. I mean, I guess at this point we do have... Nah, I kind of need to take that back, because we do have the Vegeta's Family one, we have the Worldwide Chaos one here, the Universe Survival Saga one, those are all pretty usable as well, so I guess it's not as barren as it once was, but... yeah, it still was one of the worst typings for these. Like, most times after I do a lot of challenge content and I use a lot of support reels for that stuff, I find that the orange reels I have the most left over of, so I'm okay with that being an orange support memory. That is probably my favorite go-to at this point for the orange support memories, will be that Power Beyond Super Saiyan 1. So, good stuff. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me. Don't forget to check out the links in the description below, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace!